Wow. The Tennessee Titans traded for Julio Jones, a star-studded wideout from the Tennessee Titans, one of the best wide receivers in our league and one of the best wide receivers of all time. According to Diana Rossini, the Falcons are expected to trade Julio Jones to the Titans barring any setbacks in the next 24 to 48 hours per sources. The two sides are still finalizing compensation, but as one source said, I feel very good about this happening. If there are no snags, the trade official Monday. The only setbacks that can really happen here are if Julio Jones does not pass his physical, which he will take in a couple days, depending on when he can, basically. This is an unbelievable trade, not only because you're getting, Julio Jones, who's an unbelievable wide receiver, but also for A.J. Brown's development. A.J. Brown is a huge admirer of Julio Jones, and he's basically tile his game, his full game around Julio Jones. He wore number 11 because of Julio Jones. And I'm going to play a video on his AJ Brown's TikTok that really shows how much he wanted Julio in Tennessee.
Yo! That's what they're going to say when you make a catch. When you make a touchdown. They don't even do that for me. Just hear me out. And look what I'm wearing. Your first Titan jersey. I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm going to sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tenny here, Mr. Finger Roll himself. Every time, Air Hill. Listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl year 2, not a big deal, kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era, of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
And now A.J. Brown gets to learn from one of the best wide receivers of all time and somebody who really fits his mold. A.J. Brown's a big-bodied wide receiver, and Julio can help him out a lot because Julio's 6'3", Julio's pretty tall. He's an amazing possession receiver. He can burn you deep. That's what A.J. Brown has. A.J. has all these skills. Now, you have to account for Derrick Henry, who is the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, rushed for 2,000 yards last year. A.J. Brown, who was a Pro Bowler in his second year Pro Bowler. Okay. And Julio Jones, who is by far, in his prime, one of the best receivers of all time. Now, Julio is not, in my opinion, I feel like the best days, like 2015 was probably Julio's best year, because that's when he got the most catches, the most yards. But Julio will not be back to there in terms of skill. Or in terms of skill, because he's past his prime. He's 32 years old. His body is going to give up on him pretty soon. I think with that hamstring injury, we're already kind of starting to see a little bit of it. The good thing is that Julio Jones does not, like, back in between, like, the Roddy White and the Calvin Ridley days, Julio was pretty much the guy, right? You had Tony Gonzalez, but it was Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. Really, like, I couldn't tell you who another Atlanta Falcons wide receiver was. And I was a Carolina Panthers fan for years. And I literally couldn't tell you any other wide receiver unless I paid specific attention to them. And unless I actually, looked them up. So that is why Julio had to do everything. Julio had to do a lot in his prime years. Now he doesn't have to do that because A.J. Brown is just going to get better and better. And we're going to see an even bigger jump from last year to this year than 2019 to 2020 because of the mentorship of Julio Jones. For the Falcons, I know Falcons fans might be upset that we only got a second-round pick for Julio. But think about this. The Titans will most likely not be getting prime Julio. There's always a chance that Julio is just amazing and he's like the Tom Brady of wide receivers. But Julio, this is most likely not Julio in his prime. So, for a 32-year-old wide receiver who's on a really massive contract and will probably not get any better throughout the rest of his career, a second-round pick is valuable. And a second-round pick is what should be given in this situation here. It's an amazing deal that the Atlanta Falcons and that the Tennessee Titans, are getting here. According to Adam Schefter, Falcons and Titans are still discussing whether the package for Julio Jones will be a second and fifth round pick or a second round pick with a swap of other picks. Now, we've actually gotten the official report here from Bleacher Report, and they got it through Ian Rappaport, but let me look here. The Falcons sent Julio Jones for a 2023 sixth, and the Tennessee Titans sent Atlanta a 2022 second and a 2023 fourth. So there is a sixth round pick thrown in there for the fourth round pick of next year, of 2023. So for the Falcons, I'm a little surprised they did this. Not very, because the Falcons are in salary cap hell. So getting rid of Julio was a must, or it's Matt Ryan. And the Falcons not draft a QB this year. They do not have a backup for Matt Ryan, so Matt Ryan is going to be sticking around for at least this year, and probably for a couple more years too. Now, Julio was expendable because Calvin Ridley's emerging as a number one wideout. Calvin Ridley had a great year last year. Kyle Pitts coming in as tight end. He's basically like a wide receiver tight end combo. He can be used as a wide receiver or a tight end, really. And Julio Jones was pretty much the only player the Falcons could really trade. And it was almost impossible to keep him. But I honestly thought that the Falcons would find a way. Maybe it's restructuring Grady Jarrett's contract to keep Julio and at least try that offense. But the Falcons traded him. The Titans Colts is going to be a fun one. The only knock I have on Tennessee is their defense is not great, right? Tennessee's defense is not amazing. And I think that there's a retooling of that side of the football that Tennessee is working on right now. I would have liked to see Julio go to a more well-rounded team. That's just in my opinion. Like, for example, maybe it's the Patriots or the Seahawks. The Seahawks have a better defense than Tennessee does. But this offense is going to be fun to watch, right? I just can't believe that Julio went there. I'm still settling into the fact that Julio's a Titan. Thank you all so much for that. That's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Next video out is gonna be on Tuesday. I did not plan to get a video out today, but duty calls. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's hit 7 likes on this video. Let's have that as our goal. Thank you. Peace.